Well, you all were around when I ranked my Dragon Ball Z sagas from worst to best. Now let's do the movies. Now, before I actually rank the movies, sit down and rank these, I've got a few rules that I'm going to go over. First off, I'm only ranking the Dragon Ball Z movies. So that means no Dragon Ball films, no GT, and no specials. Trunks and Bardock are omitted from this list. I'll save those for another video. Another rule, no Dragon Ball Super movies. But since they have the Z title in them, Battle of Gods and Resurrection F will be counted among this list since it was before it became Dragon Ball Super. Now, let's finish it up here, and that's pretty much the rules here. I'll save the GT movie and the Dragon Ball movie for another day. So let's get things started and let's start ranking this shit. Let's go! Dragon Ball Z movies from worst to best, let's hit it!
I am the great mighty Pooh, and I'm going to throw my...
Well, just like the song says, the great mighty Pooh, or Broly covered in shit, is the worst DBZ movie ever made. Even though I do find some enjoyable things out of it, like the animation is really stellar, and it's just an all-around fun thing to watch, it's still not good. I mean, it's garbage. I do like the team-up of Android 18 and Goten and Trunks, along with Mr. Satan and Krillin, but yeah, I don't really just give two shits about the story in general. The story is about a dude who blackmailed Mr. Satan to come fight up his Bio Warriors. 18's trying to shake down Mr. Satan for his money, so Goten and Trunks follow suit, and then they go in, they find the priest from the second movie is bioengineering Broly so he could have a monster to threaten the village again. It doesn't make any sense. We have no idea why they're here. It just sucks. And honestly, despite stellar animation, the story really just goes nowhere. Goten and Trunks really aren't that interesting of characters to me. They never have been, and they never will be. The only time they're interesting is when they're in fusion form, and when they create Gotenks. Which kind of brings up another point of argument here. Why didn't they fuse to fight up against Broly in this movie? Especially Bio Broly. Or better yet, I think the best nickname to call him is Shit Broly. Because it looks like he's covered in radioactive dookie. He looks like the great mighty Pooh is Pooh. Yeah. This is just not a fun event to go to. It's kind of boring on top of all that, and Mr. Satan is actually the best part of this movie. Which is sad to say. If you're assuming that he's the best part of the movie, that means you're in for a long trip. And it feels long. It's a short movie. It's one of Z's shortest movies of the bunch, too. But it just feels so long and very pretentious. Much like the Garlic Jr Saga. Let's go on to the next movie.
Here's my trucker hat.
Next, we have Super Android 13. Now, it's not going to get any worse from here, but I will say I do have a soft spot for this one, just a little. This was the very first DBZ DVD I ever bought, so I kind of have a love for it, but really the story or anything here just goes absolutely nowhere. Basically, it's just 50 minutes of straight fighting. Shows Goku at the mall, the Android 14 and 15 show up, 13 comes in at the end, and they make him a redneck-looking character. And I've got to say, the trucker hat android is just a lot of fun, but other than that, there's nothing really imaginative going on here. I kind of just see the perpetual badness in this one, and it's just bland. That's the biggest issue with this. It's cool to see Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks go Super Saiyan and fight, and Piccolo even jumps in too. But yeah, this is just not very good. I mean, it's still good to pop in and watch every once in a while. I mean, I have a big soft spot for it. I got this DVD for my birthday when I was about 13 years old, and I fell in love with it, but then it was like, shit, that's bad. as a kid, it's way more enjoyable than watching it as a teen or an adult. You can see that it's highly bland and it's highly unwatchable. Android 13 is a lot of fun, and the other two androids in the Japanese version have little to no dialogue. They added dialogue into the Funimation dub just to give the characters a little bit more personality. And yeah. I think that the most that these characters say in the Japanese version is Son Goku. That's it. It's still quite a lot of fun to watch, though. If you're in the mood just for some mindless bashing and watching androids get blown up, and some pure-ass nightmare fuel from Goku going Super Saiyan and absorbing the Spirit Bomb into himself, nothing else really special is going on here, so yeah. Just mindless fun, like I said. Let's move on. Now we have one that's kind of fun, and what I mean by that is the return of Cooler isn't terrible per se, though the animation budget and look of the show is not very good in general. And I have some serious questions for this. Like, this was before the Cell Saga or before anything. How did they know that Dende was going to be the Guardian? Anyway, basically, Cooler just tries to get the Big Getty Star on Namek to take over Namek to draw Goku there so he could get his revenge. There's a lot of Star Wars, Terminator, and a whole lot of other sci-fi references going on through this movie, which is fun. I do like seeing them fight on Namek. In fact, I used to love this one when I first watched it. It was so cool to finally get Vegeta actually into the movie. This is his first appearance. And however, it just doesn't fit. I don't know. His forced entry in this just doesn't really do it for me all that much. And on top of that, Cooler is basically just trying to now copy his little brother and take over Namek. I mean, he fails at killing. Oh, Lord. This one is just not that great either, but I still watch it from time to time. I have a good enjoyment of it. I do like seeing them fight on Namek, and the fact that Vegeta can go Super Saiyan now is fun. But then there's other things like, let's hit the robots really, really hard, because that'll fix it, right? It's not the worst, it's not the best, it's just it's just mediocre. That's how I would rank this one. It's just a mediocre choice. And pretty much that's how a lot of these bottom rankings are going to go. They're just mediocre to me. Oh boy, Resurrection F. I have a lot of problems with this piece of shit. Now, I didn't literally call the other ones a piece of shit, but this one I consider to be garbage, because this is supposed to be a new movie, and yet they have plot hole after plot hole, ass pull after ass pull in this one. I hate this one. I mean, I hate it with a fucking burning passion, because, I mean, okay, let's look at the detail. Frieza comes back from the dead, he gets wished back by his minions, and he gets a golden form from just training. Wow, that really worked. So just training a full day or a full year or whatever the hell he does makes him so strong that he outranks Cell and Majin Buu now. And now he outranks Goku, Super Saiyan. It doesn't make any sense. And then the whole time restraint thing with Whis and Beerus. Okay, I think everyone knows that actually watches my videos that I am not a Dragon Ball Super fan. I despise Super. I hate it. It is the worst thing ever created. I just despise it. And Resurrection F does not help this case. Though the animation at times with Resurrection F can be beautiful and can look nice, and some of the fight scenes can be really great, but it does nothing for me. I despise this piece of shit so much because the other movies are just, and I'm talking about the old cheesy movies that have no substance to them, outranks this piece of garbage. I can't stand Beerus. I can't stand Whis. They do nothing in this entire movie. They just say, oh, well, we're not going to interfere. We're just going to eat because that's all we ever do. And yet, this movie is fucking popular. I don't know why this one is so freaking popular. It does nothing. Oh, okay. I'm calm. I'm sorry. You know, if you guys could see me, you could see the vein just bulging in my forehead on how I just don't see how this is a good movie. It's shit. It's garbage. I only ranked it this high so people wouldn't come and attack my page. That's the only reason. I hate it. Oh, God. I would rather watch Dragon Ball GT Marathon over on a loop than watch any one episode of Dragon Ball Super or any 10 minutes of Resurrection F. That's a lot of hate. Let's go to the next one.
So tell me, how does it feel becoming a god?
Speaking of hatred for Dragon Ball Super, let's talk about how overrated Battle of fucking Gods is. Because I hate this too. And you know what? I'm going to blow away a lot of people that watch my videos, and this will probably get me to lose subscribers. I hate Beerus. I hate his guts. He is a pointless character that just likes to lay around and eat all day. I don't give a fuck about his god of destruction power or whatever the hell it is. It's not good to me. I don't see the popularity between this character. And here's the thing. He turns characters like Frieza or King Vegeta into sniveling, whining, cowardly bitches. And I hate it. Oh my god, this is like one of the worst things ever. But I'll be nice to Battle of Gods since it's slightly outranking Resurrection F. Here's what I'll say about it. The animation is nice. The song Hero, I absolutely love that song. Basically, Beerus shows up to fight the Super Saiyan God, and, well, there it is. He threatens to destroy Earth if he can't find the Super Saiyan God. Goku tries to unlock that ability, and it's basically just him eating through the entire fucking movie. Oh, Lord Beerus is hungry. Then he gets into a bitch fight with Majin Buu over Buu not sharing fucking pudding. This is like some of the worst character motivation I've seen. But the fight scene between Goku and Beerus is a breathtakingly beautiful scene. I will openly admit that. But Beerus as a character and Whis as a character, I hate them. They just feel like fan fiction written characters. And you don't want to get me started on characters like Lord Zeno, who I just fucking hate. But thank God that he's not in this movie. Whoever did the English dub voice of that kid, oh Lord, they're terrible. They're fucking awful. It was a mismatched voice. He sounds like Pride from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, but he got kicked in the nuts and he just kind of hit puberty. I'm going off track here. I hate Resurrection F and Battle of Gods with a burning passion, and it sucks I had to add them to this list because they have the Z title to them. They are just last minute additions that nobody gives a fuck about, or at least I don't give a fuck about. I have only watched Battle of Gods once. I have only watched Resurrection F once. Well, now twice, because I had to rank the movies. But I'm saying, since I have rewatched them, I have only watched these two twice in their existence of sitting on my shelf. I would gladly get rid of these movies if I could get rid of them, if they had the Z title on them. Anyway, I'm done with the rant on these. Let's go on to the next one.
Oh, that's better.
If that doesn't show my hatred for those two movies, I put Broly's Second Coming over them. Because Broly's Second Coming is great. And I like the Second Coming movie and the legendary Super Saiyan movie over the Broly movie before anyone ever fucking asks. So, yeah, I don't like the new Broly movie. It sucks. It's boring. Now I'm going to get back to a better Broly movie. Broly's Second Coming was kind of interesting. For some reason, he comes back from the dead after he explodes in front of us in Legendary Super Saiyan. And yeah, he basically just spends the entire movie fighting Goten, Trunks, Videl, and Gohan. And what's interesting is Goku's not really in this movie till around the end. And he doesn't come in fully until the end. And there's not really all that much great about this one, except for maybe that music track, which is fucking awesome. That ION theme is badass, I'm not gonna lie. It kicks so much ass here. And it's kind of cool to see that stellar animation and actually Gohan kind of being the hero of the story, sort of, along with Goten and Trunks. Though scenes like Broly getting pissed in his face and stuff, it's not that good. But still, this just kind of showed the staple of Broly's popularity and how far he was going to go as a badass villain so far. And I've got to say, it just works. It works on a decent level. Goten and Trunks are boring characters, but in this movie, they're kind of fun to watch. They're playful kids. But then there's scenes like when Broly is fighting Videl. It's kind of doesn't make sense because Super Saiyan Goku and Vegeta at their fullest couldn't even scar Broly. Goku had to get the powers of everyone else. Hey, wait a minute, that sounds awfully familiar. Nope, not going to talk about Battle of Gods. And, anyhow, yeah, it's kind of doesn't make sense here, but if you could just put all that behind you and not think about it and just enjoy it for what it is, Broly's Second Coming really isn't that bad. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend giving it a watch again, and if you didn't like it the first time you watched it, I still say give it a watch. It's a pretty decent movie. And it's kind of nice to see Gohan as the titular character at the beginning. Speaking of which, now we have Bojacks Unbound, which is another fun little movie. I actually like Kid Gohan a lot, and I like that he gets to take over. Basically, there's a world tournament going on that involves Mr. Satan. Gohan is entered, along with Trunks, future Trunks for some reason, Tien Shinhan, and Krillin, and Piccolo. It's kind of nice to see them all fight together. Vegeta's kind of going through an arc in this too, to where he doesn't want to fight because Goku's not there. But let me ask, Vegeta, what did you do when Goku wasn't there for the first 20-some years of your life? Why weren't you there then? Why weren't you going into depression mode then? That doesn't make sense, Vegeta storyline, but this is mainly Gohan's movie, and there is just some beautiful transformation scenes in this one. I really enjoy it a lot. Though some of the characters have no personality, Bojacks himself really isn't that interesting of a character. But the other ones, they're pretty fun. I mean, I kind of like how Krillin kind of flirts with one of the aliens from Bojack's crew. It's funny. The animation, as I said, is beautiful, and the American and Japanese music track kind of just fit in really well. It's a guilty pleasure, this one, and it's nice to see Gohan as the hero until the end when Goku pulls a Baku X Machina kind of shit. But other than that, yeah, give this one a rewatch if you want to rewatch it. It's pretty nice to see Gohan as the hero in this movie. Now we're on to one that I have kind of a soft spot for, Lord Slug. And honestly, I think the reason why I like this one so much is because of the soundtrack that the dub decided to use. I mean, come on. The dudes added Boy Hits Car, Disturbed, Deftones, you name it, it's fucking in there. And honestly, what do I think about it? I like it. I love this one. And it might be because I'm a big fan of the King Piccolo saga. It seems a lot of people aren't. Me, that's like my favorite Dragon Ball saga, or at least my second favorite. I might be doing the Dragon Ball saga eventually. Anyhow, Lord Slug is basically a carbon copy of the King Piccolo saga, but with a little Super Saiyan added in. Even though Slug himself isn't that interesting of a character, he still is a lot of fun to watch. The music on here is just catchy as hell. Basically, Slug comes to the planet Earth seeking to turn it into a spaceship for himself, or a cruiser for himself, by freezing the planet. He then finds the Dragon Balls on Earth and wishes for eternal youth. And it's up to Goku and his friends to stop him. Basically, you are surrounded by a ton, and I mean a ton, of DBZ fights here. You get Piccolo fighting, Gohan fighting, Oolong does something, Krillin gets bitch slapped, and then Goku turns into the false Super Saiyan thing that we see. Really, there's nothing all too memorable about this one, except for that really fucking badass music soundtrack. But other than that, yeah, this one is just average to me, but it's enjoyable at the same time. Every time I want to watch something that's just fun, I pop this sucker in. It's not one that I visit frequently, but I do pop it in for nostalgia purposes, or just to listen to that badass music soundtrack. Alright, now we're getting to the goods. We're getting to fucking badass Fusion Reborn. I love this one. The only thing I don't understand is why they brought Hitler, or I mean, the dictator, to the movie. I don't know, but the animation is stellar. Janemba is not that memorable as a villain, but he's a lot of fun. Basically, the gates to hell open up, and they start attacking on Earth, while Janemba is in hell trying to destroy the afterlife completely. He then is confronted by Goku, who tries to fight him in Super Saiyan 3. Then on top of that, Vegeta shows up, and they are left with no other options but to fuse and bring forth Gogeta. Gogeta is only in the movie for like 2 fucking minutes, but good God, are those 2 minutes beautiful. The animation itself, the fusion itself, is just out of this world. I could go on and on with how awesome this movie looks, but story-wise, it's just your average look to it. I mean, Janemba is definitely, especially in his first form, a carbon copy of Fat Boo. I mean, just look at him when you see him. It's trying to kind of go into that Super Boo reference of Vegito showing up at the last minute, except the only difference is Gogeta wasn't wasted. Vegito was in the Boo Saga, which is pretty sad. Gogeta just shows up and he fucking does that freaking Stardust move, and he blows Janemba the fuck up. It's freaking eye candy. This whole movie is freaking eye candy that I could watch from beginning to end and not get bored with it.
You poor fool, with the power I possess, you don't stand a chance against me.
Next, we have the Tree of Might, and a lot of people are probably surprised that I put this one so low on the list because of Turles, my love for Turles. But, yeah, I'm not gonna lie that this movie is kind of wasted potential with Turles. I mean, I love Turles as a character. I even have a fan fiction that I wrote about Turles, so why is this movie so low on the list? Why isn't it in the top 3s? Well, I don't know. Mainly because the first half of the movie, and it's a short movie, mind you, it's Gohan with Higher Dragon the entire time. And if you notice, I'm referencing the Ocean dub version of this movie, because that's the best way to watch this one, if you're a dub snob only. Anyway, yeah, it's basically Gohan with Higher Dragon. Turles shows up, he plants the tree, and then they all fight. It's basically in the same formula run, and this is when this movie first started it. But Turles himself is just a lot of fun. It is so cool to see an evil version of Goku before shitty-ass Goku Black showed up, which is sadly the best saga out of Super. No more Super! Anyhow, it is cool to see Turles show up. How awesome it is to see an evil version of Goku just show up, destroy shit, and beat the shit out of all his friends. It's amazing. I could just watch all of Turles' scenes over and over again. Especially the dialogue that goes on with the Ocean dub here. Ward Perry just plays Turles fucking fantastically. Doing such an evil voice that he has, it's unbelievable. Peter Kelamis is my favorite Goku of all time, so this dub is a surefire win. I mean, just the English dub alone on this movie is what saves it from being more than just mediocre, and Turles is fucking fantastic. The story itself, where Goku tries to destroy the Tree of Might, is a little weird, and the Tree of Might itself is kind of like an anti-spirit bomb or reverse spirit bomb. It sucks all the nutrients out of the planet, and whoever eats the fruit becomes like beast-like, godlike strong. So, what do I think of it as a total? It's just a pretty good film. I mean, it's not great, it's not spectacular, it's just good. And the Saiyan villain, it just kind of saves the movie from going to mediocrity. Let's move on to the next one.
He's different. He's changed.
Now we're on to Cooler's Revenge, which is a movie I have talked about quite a bit in the past. I love this one to pieces, but Frieza's brother kinda just sucks. I mean, don't get me wrong, Frieza is cool, but his brother is cooler. Okay, I apologize for the pun. Anyhow, Cooler isn't that interesting of a character, but at the time we were only given Frieza with kind of half-wit dialogue. When this came out, it was kind of cool to see a more badass version of Frieza with that proper voice that they were originally going to go for. And I don't know, Cooler just can be fun. His transformation scenes are pretty cool too, even though at one point his scenes or his armor looks like Shredder from Secret of the Ooze. And some of the fight scenes are really beautiful here. I do love where they fight within the waterfall and he just fucks up Goku really badly. Basically, Cooler goes to Earth to get vengeance for his brother's death, and he tracks down Goku, Gohan, and everyone else, and has his half-team or discount Ginyu Force show up, Cooler's armored squadron, and yeah, it's just a pretty fun, mindless little movie that does get kind of pushed under the radar. However, I will say that the dub is great too, and like Lord Slug, they put some pretty good music in, like Deftones' Disturbed and Breaking Point. You can't help but love this one. Cooler himself isn't that intriguing of a character, and his squadron are kind of boring, and they're just generic little soldiers. Though I do like their armor design, that's not too bad. The animation can be beautiful, especially with the waterfall scene when they fight, and Cooler's transformation scene is always cool. It's a cooler movie than Return of Cooler. Next is Wrath of the Dragon, which is kind of a guilty pleasure for me. I love the animation in this, and I love the fact that the main character, or Tapion, is actually designed from Chrono. He looks like a mix of Chrono Trigger and Dragon Quest, and everyone knows how big of a hard-on I have for Chrono Trigger. It's like one of the best animes out there. Or games. Sorry, I meant games, but it needs to be an anime. Just saying. Toriyama, make it happen! Anyhow, Wrath of the Dragon is awesome. Basically, a warrior named Tapion shows up, and he's trying to stop a monster named Hirudegan, I hope I pronounced that right. To put it back in its case, Trunks forms a special connection with Tapion, and it's just an all-around cute thing to watch. It's kind of cool to see Trunks have like a big brother-like idol, since he doesn't have any, and he does kind of get more into Kid Trunks' personality, which is something that I never thought I would ever see. Kid Trunks is bland and boring and generic, but it is nice to see that he does envy Goten and his relationship with Gohan. I've always liked that little bit. It's kind of cool if you ask me, and to really get into the detail and his connection with Tapion is a really nice plus. Hirudegan is really fucking cool design. I mean, I could tell they were going for like a Godzilla/Alien look, you know, from the Alien movies, and they really tried with its design. It looks awesome. And let's not forget, Goku actually goes all out in this with his Super Saiyan 3 ability and the fucking Dragon Fist, which actually rocked this movie up this high. The animation and art style with Dragon Fist is unfreaking believable on how good it looks. Oh man. I don't rewatch this one a lot, but I can admit that it is freaking fantastic. Mwah! It's just lovely. That's all I've got to say about it.
I choose you to be the first of my victims.
Alright, I know what you're going to say. Broly the legendary Super Saiyan is up this high? Okay, I'm not going to lie. I love this one. I love an over-the-top villain. Basically, Broly and his father come to Earth to tell Vegeta that they have made him a new king, or planet King Vegeta, and they want him to be the king of it. Vegeta, who is just always ego hungry and loves his ego to be fed, constantly goes with them, and then they are trying to locate the legendary Super Saiyan, while Paragus is actually planning for a meteor to smash into the planet and destroy Vegeta. However, he can't keep his son Broly under control when he sees Goku, which the story behind that is he made Broly cry when they were babies. That's why he hates Goku. Yeah, that seems a little pointless, and there's a lot of pointless exhibition in this, but I don't know. I can't help it. I just love it. Once you get to the midpoint of this film, Broly is just fucking amazing. It's a straight out Saiyan smash up battle, and you can't help but love it. Every scene Broly steals, and that voice performance by Vic Mignogna is freaking amazing. How the guy could do that voice just blows my mind to this day. Broly is, I know it's weird to say, one of my favorite DBZ characters. His design alone is just freaking amazing. I love that. I mean, you could just see the detail, especially his muscle detail. He looks like Trunks when Trunks was fighting Cell, and I don't know which came out first. I'm thinking the Trunks one came out first, and they just kind of copied the design of Trunks' Super Trunks 2 that he tried to use against Cell, and they added it to here. But I've got to say, Broly is just a lot of fun. It's just a movie that is pretty much mindless and entertainment fun. Basically, that's what most of these DBZ movies are. They don't leave that huge of an impression on you, but you can't help but love them regardless of that. All I've got to say is, if you haven't seen this one, or if you didn't like it the first time you watch it, give it a rewatch. You won't be disappointed, I can promise you that. Now let's move on to the top two.
You're just a coward. You and the other two won't take me by surprise this time.
Okay, this is weird, right? I added the Garlic Jr Saga as the worst saga out of the entire DBZ run because it's boring, pretentious, and I hate it. But I put the Dead Zone movie as one of the best DBZ movies ever. And I've got to say, it's worthy of that spot. This movie just blows my mind on how good it really is. They utilize Garlic Jr. right. It's 50 minutes, it's short, but it doesn't feel like that. You wish it would go on longer. That's how you make a DBZ movie. Garlic Jr. shows up, looks for the Dragon Balls, they kidnap Gohan, and Goku's story arc is to go find Gohan because of the 4-star Dragon Balls on Gohan's hat. Why they didn't just take the hat and leave Gohan there, I don't know. That's a plot hole of itself. And the plot hole of attacking Piccolo, knowing that the Dragon Balls would go away if he or Kami died. That's also another plot hole. Luckily, the Abridged series actually fixed that little problem. But still, yeah. It's the only glaring problem out of this entire movie. However, you get a lot of fun in this one. Goku and Piccolo teaming up to fight Garlic Jr. is just a treat in and of itself. You get to see Krillin actually get some use, even though he gets pissed on, which is really weird. But I don't care. It's just a lot of fun, and the Ocean Dub version is the best way to watch this one. The script is flowing perfectly. The dialogue matches in really well. They treat you like an adult instead of a kid. Back when Ocean was dubbing stuff, they really treated you like a kid. But this is the uncut version, and it's just fantastic. I mean, this is probably one of the ones that I have rewatched a lot. I know that Garlic Jr., if used correctly, can be an interesting villain. I love the whole thing between Goku and Piccolo here, and Scott McNeil, I've got to say, delivers an enormous, incredible performance as Piccolo here. It's one of the best things I have ever seen, and nobody can handle Piccolo like Scott fucking McNeil. So, if you haven't seen this one, or at least the Ocean dub version of this, watch it. It is beyond worth the time. Now, I have bragged this one up a lot. Let's go to my favorite DBZ movie of all time. Here it is. The best DBZ movie is The World's Fucking Strongest. I don't even know where to begin. This movie has no faults. Yeah, there is maybe one little animation copy where Piccolo kills off one of the little bio warriors, just like one of the Cybermen. That's the only thing borrowed. This is DBZ completely original. Now, why do I love this one so much? Well, Dr. Willow, who's been frozen in a cavern for 50 years, wants the strongest fighter in the world, so his body, or for their body, because his brain is now just a brain in a jar, basically, or brain in a machine. And he finds out that Master Roshi is no longer the strongest fighter in the world. So he tries to lure Goku there and take his body by force if he has to. Goku has to go through an entire game of death style battle to get to the top of the fortress till where he fights Dr. Willow and Kochin himself. Everything about this movie is original and it just works. This is also another Ocean dubbed uncut movie. The dialogue is just damn near perfect. Everything about this movie just feels amazing. Dr. Willow, even though not that great of a character, is still a lot of fun. And Kochin, who is just the over-the-top assistant scientist, is a lot of fun too. You can't help but love this one. The animation? My god, they use my favorite style of animation for Z is from the Saiyan Saga animation. That took a lot of freaking work and detail to put into it, and I have nothing but praise for that. Seriously, I mean, when Goku uses the Kaioken technique, it's just incredible. You can just feel everything going on. My favorite scenes have to involve Goku's fights with the Bio Warriors because they are just so beautifully animated done. I never thought ice could look so freaking cool in a movie, but yet it does. The motivation, the story, the whole originality of it is just perfect. There's a very similar beam struggle in the movie that actually kind of copies Goku and Vegeta's beam struggle, but honestly, it's not that noticeable. But other than that, this is worthy of being the best DBZ movie, and to me, it hasn't been topped. I have seen every single DBZ movie from top to bottom, and none of them can top this one. It was always excellent. It's even better than the new stuff that they put out. It's just DBZ at its peak. It's magnum opus, its awesomeness. And I will stand by saying that this is the best DBZ movie ever made. And that about does it for here. So that ends my little cycle on ranking the movies. Now, like I said, I didn't do the specials, and I did not do Yo-Son Goku and His Friends Return because I count that as a special. There will be another video where I rank those eventually. But I think the next worst to best on Anna Monday coming up is going to be the Dragon Ball sagas. So join me the next Monday while I rank them. Anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a comment if you want me to rank anything else. Always remember, I'm listening.
I have a very important question. Did you like what you saw? I'm betting you did. And if you did, you should like and subscribe to Mr. Tim's YouTube. Lots of awesome reviews, lists, interviews. And if you haven't subscribed yet, you're missing out. Always remember, he's listening.